Hi there, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and for those of you who are new here, my name's Amy. I'm a full-time reseller, primarily on the Poshmark app, but I do dabble in other online platforms and I sell locally. Today I'll be doing a ship with me video, and in these videos I go day to day and I share the items that I sold. I talk about how much they sold for, what I paid for them, and what my profit was. So you want to be sure to watch all the way to the end because I always have interesting items and I'm sure you can learn something. So the first item that sold on cherish.com, and it was a set of 6 of these retro 1960s mugs, and they are by Cheerio. And they just have this cool kind of geometric psychedelic print to them. I listed these for $89 and I listed them, it's been a couple of months, I'm not sure exactly how long, but I got an offer for $70. So I decided to go ahead and accept that. I had these in my inventory for a really long time, but like I said, I had just listed them online. So list that death pile because there's stuff sitting in there that you could turn into money. So like I said, I accepted the $70 offer. These were actually given to me, so I have no cost of goods, but Cherish charges a 22% seller's commission. So that made my profit $56.80. I'm happy with that for a vintage funky set of mugs. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap these up off camera just because it'll take me a while, and I'm gonna move them out of the way so they don't get broken. So I've really been focusing more on listing more items on Cherish just because I have so many hard goods that are not selling locally, and they always end up selling for more on Cherish actually. So okay, so the first item that sold this year on Poshmark was this vintage belt buckle. And this is an award buckle that somebody won for a rodeo. It actually says Elgin HS, so High School Rodeo 1973 on the front. And this is by Sunset Trails. I don't think you're going to be able to see that, but it says Sunset Trails and silver plate on the back. So I picked this up. Actually, I picked it up because it was on a tooled leather belt, and it was $2.99 for the whole thing. And I'd had the set listed. I listed it all together, and I'd had the set listed for a while, maybe 8 months, I think. And last week, a buyer came in and asked if I would sell just the belt, which I thought was kind of interesting. The belt was tooled and it said Karen on the back. So if you watched last week's video, you'll see that I sold that for $39. I had both items listed together for $129 because I'd seen really good comps for this Sunset Trails buckle. So I deactivated that listing that had everything together and made a listing for that buyer for just the belt. And I hadn't relisted the buckle yet. And then over the weekend, someone commented on that old listing saying, would you sell just the buckle? So I thought, wow, how lucky am I getting? And because I'd had it for a little while, I listed just the buckle for $79 and told the buyer that I was open to offers, and she offered me $50. I may have left a little bit of money on the table, but I'm not sure if you could see on camera, but this had scuffs and quite a bit of tarnish. So I just decided to go ahead and accept that $50 and move this out because I included that $3 in my cost of goods last week. So for this, I have zero cost of goods. So that makes, after posh fees, that makes my profit $40. I can't complain about that at all. And I'm pretty excited that it worked out to sell both of these within a couple of weeks of each other, and it ended up being a pretty great profit. So like I've said before, sometimes when I get a fancy buckle and a belt, I will just keep them together and sell them. And sometimes I will separate them and list them separately. I do have good luck selling belts without buckles and buckles without belts. So it's just up to you how you want to do that. It does seem like oftentimes I can get more if I separate them. Sometimes I guess I'm just a little too lazy to do that. But again, it works both. It works either way that you do it. Okay, so the next item is this vintage costume jewelry necklace. And this is by Trifari, which is Trifari. And it has kind of a marble. I used the term marble and butterscotch because of the color and gold tone. I think I put 1960s. Let's see, I think this is too tiny for you guys to be able to see the mark on there, but it says Trifari, and then it has this little key crown hang tag, which sometimes they do have. I had picked this up at an estate sale for $2. You can oftentimes find pretty decent deals on costume jewelry, and you just want to take a look at the marks and the styling to see, you know, if it's worthwhile to pick up. I listed this, you know, I can't remember. I think I had this listed for $40 or $59, and the buyer offered me $45. Trifari can kind of be hit or miss. Some of their pieces are really worth a lot. Some of them are worth hardly anything, and some are worth kind of in between, like this one. So I just decided to go ahead and accept that $45. This had only been listed, I mean, I guess a few months. I picked it up over the summer. So sometimes, you know, costume jewelry can take a while to sell. Actually, oftentimes it takes a while to sell. So I just decided to go ahead and accept that $45. Like I said, I had paid $2 for it. So after posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $34. I'm feeling pretty motivated to move stuff out. It's the first week of January, and I don't know, for some reason this time of year, I just get really ready to stop looking at old inventory and get new things in, which I don't think is uncommon for people. So some things I'll be accepting a little bit lower offers on, and I may even do some sort of more aggressive offer to likers this week, just because I want to get things and keep things moving. So the next item is this woven leather belt. Again, it wouldn't be one of my ship with me videos without a belt. If you're new to my channel, if you keep watching, you'll see that I sell at least one belt a week, usually multiple. I love picking them up. They're pretty easy to list and ship. So I had this listed for $39, and the buyer offered me $30. I thought that was great. I had paid $2 for it. So after posh fees, that made my profit $22. I am happy with that. You know how I like to turn and burn belts if you've been watching my channel. Okay. So a few little bit higher dollar sales. So this is a vintage wool skirt with leather fringed trim, and this is Pendleton wool. This is a homemade piece. I was invited to an estate buyout. I don't know what exactly to call it, but a real estate agent that my dad had done business with was working on the sale of a mansion, actually, and it was right at the beginning of COVID when everything was shut down. So it was a huge house and it was full of stuff, and they were trying to be safe and bring, you know, one person in at a time to help clear out some of these things. So they invited me in to look through the closet, and oh my goodness, this was a year and a half, 2 years ago. So I have had this a while. But I got some amazing Western pieces. There was actually 4 of these skirts, but the other 3 had like the Aztec print Pendleton fabric. So those sold quicker and for higher amounts. Overall, I'm happy with what I got for this. It ended up selling for $120. I think that originally I had it listed as high as $250 or $279. And the other skirts, most of them sold between $250 and $350. But because this was just a solid color, I think it was less desirable. So did I say it sold for, I got an offer for $100. I added the item to a bundle and asked the buyer if she would come up to $140, and she said she could come up to $120. So I decided to go ahead and list this, or accept that $120, because this had been listed for so long. And honestly, I think that's an okay price, even though to have this made and for the leather and the fabric, I'm sure it cost a lot of money, but we don't always get the original value. So it sold for $120. I paid an average of $5 per item from that estate buyout. So after Posh fees, that made my profit $91. You really can't complain about a $91 profit on a $5 investment, even though it did take quite some time to sell. So the next item I actually bought for myself, and our Goodwill doesn't have dressing rooms. Does your Goodwill not have dressing rooms? So they closed them during COVID, and then they built a new building, and at the new building, they didn't even put in dressing rooms. So they do let you exchange items up to 14 days for store credit. So I bought this for me, but it was too big, and it was around the holidays, and I just never made it back to, or remembered. I was there, but I didn't remember to take it with me to get my store credit. Anyways, this is a Duluth Trading denim dress, and this is really great quality. It has the pearl snaps, and so that's why I picked it up for myself, but I just didn't like the way it fit, so I decided to go ahead and list it. I think I listed it for $49. And I just listed it last week or the week before, and a buyer offered me $32. I kind of wanted to get a little bit more for it, but also, like I said, I'm pretty motivated to sell items right now, so I just decided to, actually, you know what? No, she offered me like 27, and I counter offered with 32, and she accepted. I had paid $7 for this. Normally, I wouldn't have picked this up for $7, except that it was for myself, but it didn't turn out to be too bad because I still made a profit of $18.60 after Posh fees and my cost of goods. So maybe I should pick up Duluth Trading. Let me know in the comments down below. Have you sold that brand before, and did you do good with it? Everything that I've come across has been really good quality. So, you know, maybe people are on the lookout for that. Okay, so the next item is a Lululemon sweatshirt. And again, I had picked this up to resell, and then I decided I liked it. So I kept it for about a year, and I wore it a few times. And then I decided I just wasn't wearing it enough, or I think I got another similar Lululemon jacket and I liked it better. So I decided to list this. I had it listed for quite some time, and I think I started out by listing it at $69, which is probably a little bit too high because this was an older piece, and Lulu stuff just hasn't been getting as high a prices for me. So I had picked up some other Lululemon stuff recently, and I was listing it. So I decided to relist this item and all of my other activewear because it's the beginning of the year and people, you know, are having their New Year's resolutions for working out. And so I thought it would be good to have a fresh listing for this. And I listed it for $49 this time. And that was just last week. And the buyer offered me $40. Again, I was ready to move it out, so I accepted that. I don't remember what I paid for this because, like I said, I did keep it and use it, but I think I paid maybe like $6 for it. So that made my profit $26. I'm not going to complain at all. I got to use it for a little while. Let's see, I don't think I put a sticker on that. And I still made a profit on it. So I will be back in a couple of days to share what else I sell. If you are enjoying my videos and you haven't subscribed yet, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. We have a lot of fun here, you know, chatting down in the comments about what's selling good and, you know, just sharing tips. So also, if you like this video, if you could give it a thumbs up and comment down below. Both those things really help me out. They help boost my videos in the YouTube algorithm, so YouTube shows my videos to more people. All right, so I will see you in a couple of days. Hi again, it's another day and I've got some pretty decent sales to share with you. The first item I'm really excited about. It is an Arc'teryx rain Gore-Tex jacket. And if you guys watched last week's video, you saw that I sold an Arc'teryx jacket last week. This one I picked up recently when I was out thrifting, and I paid $9 for it. So you want to keep your eye out for that Arc'teryx logo and tag, because some of the pieces, particularly the jackets, can have a really great resale value and they have high retail values. So this jacket sold for $200. I originally started out by listing it at $250 and it got tons of attention. And it was only listed about 3 weeks, a little less than 3 weeks, I think. And I've really been trying to move things out, as I said earlier. So I sent out 20% off offers to likers with discounted shipping on every single item in my closet. And so I sent out a, what would that be? Well, I think 200, 250. Yeah, so I sent out, maybe it was less than that. Maybe I only listed this for $225. Anyways, it sold for $200. And like I said, I paid $9 for it. So after Posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $151. I'm so excited about that. That is a great sale. Now for these Arc'teryx pieces, they always have a good resale value, but the coats are the ones that really command the higher prices. So if you come across like a pullover fleece or just a top, don't, you know, pay a bunch of money for it without looking up comps, because not everything Arc'teryx sells for super high prices. I've had a couple fleece pullovers and I think I only ended up getting like $30 for them, but these jackets really sell well. So I'm very excited about that sale. Okay, the next item is a pair of Sorel boots. Now these are kind of different from your typical Sorel boots. You can see that they're kind of a suede look to them, and they have a wedge. Overall, they're in really nice condition. They do have a little bit of wear to the suede toes. I bought these at the end of winter last year, and they're just now selling, so it's been 8 months or so. But sometimes that happens. I don't mind. They didn't take up too much space, and they ended up selling for $67. So that's a pretty great sale. I had paid $10 for them. I think I originally listed them for $79 or $89. These were also part of that 20% off offers to likers. And I think there was one other thing that ended up selling because of that. So if your sales are slow or you are trying to move things out, I would really suggest that. I use my Posher VA. I use them for sharing my closet and for doing things like this with just a couple clicks of buttons. You can send out offers on everything in your closet. So that can save a lot of time. I have over 700 listings, so that would take me all day, if not 2 days, to send out that many offers. So if I can get you a discount code, I will link it below. I've tried in the past and I haven't been able to get the email to get it set up. So I'm gonna try again and hopefully get you a discount code for that. Okay, so these sold for $67. I paid $10, so that made my profit $40.92. Even though it took them a while to sell, I'm still very happy with that sale. So the next item is kind of an interesting thing. It is a vintage Polo Ralph Lauren. And when I say vintage, this is probably from the 90s or the 2000s. And this was part of a line that they did that kind of had a tactical aviator feel. And some of the pieces from this line can be pretty desirable. So I had a pair of the pants, and those sold for over $200, but they were new with tags. This one has some fading and discoloration. I originally started out by listing this at $99, I think, and I've had it listed for over a year. So clearly that was too high for the condition it was in. A buyer offered me $60, so I went ahead and accepted. I had paid about $11 for this. So after posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $37. I don't think I would pick this up again with the flaws, but I didn't notice them at the time. But without the flaws, if you come across that vintage blue Polo Ralph Lauren label, and it has kind of an aviator tactical look to it, I would pick it up. They do take a little while to sell, but there are people seeking out that particular style of items. And the vintage Polo Ralph Lauren can be popular in general. Okay, the next item is a beautiful cashmere sweater. It's kind of a turtleneck, funnel neck, and it is by Theory. It is a nice quality, thick cashmere. Probably, it's not the single ply or two ply, or is that what they call it? Or am I thinking of toilet paper? I'm pretty sure they say 2-ply cashmere. Anyways, this had been listed for a little while, also maybe over a year, but it was in really nice condition with just really light pilling to it. I don't remember what I originally listed it for, maybe $69, but a buyer offered me $50. I jumped at that because I'd had it listed for a little while, or a long while. I had paid just $2 for this, so wasn't that big of a deal that it took a little while to sell. So after Posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $38. As you can see, most of the time I am what they call a long tail seller. So I'm not as worried about items flipping quickly, although I do go through phases where I just want to move things in and move them out. But most of the time I am buying items with the intent of getting the highest return on investment and highest sales price that I can, no matter how long it takes. Now, if it takes over 2 years, that's too long, but you know, sometimes I wait over a year for an item to sell. So the next item is this pair of leather pants. These are kind of in between like a moto pant and just a fashion pant. The brand is Satria, I think. I just listed these under the vintage brand on Poshmark because this was not a well-known brand. And I did have these listed for, I think, 8 months to a year. They also had some flaws that I didn't notice when I bought them. Seems to be a common problem of mine in the past. I'm trying to do better now at really looking things over before I pick them up and not just getting excited because something's inexpensive. These were just $4. And I think I started out listing these at $89, and I had done a couple of price drops, and then this buyer offered me $50. So I jumped at that, and after Posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $36. Overall, I'm really happy with my profits from the items for this week. I think my lowest sale amount was $50. So that makes me really happy. I like to work smarter, not harder, and I'd rather sell less items for higher amounts than more items for lower amounts. That's just my business model, and I am able to do that because I can find those types of items in my area. There's not as much competition. So if you live somewhere where there's a Ben's, my closest Ben's is an hour away, and you can find mall brands and other things for very reasonable prices and flip them for $15, $20, $25, and that works for you, great, do that. A lot of very successful resellers run their business that way, and it works really good for people. It just doesn't work as well in my area because I don't have a Ben's nearby. And honestly, I love thrift shopping. I love going through the racks. And so I don't get as excited about going to the Ben's. So anyways, I never want anyone to feel like they have to do their business the way that I do. I'm simply sharing, how I do it to hopefully inspire some people to take a look at different types of items and a different way of possibly doing business. So that's all for today, but I will be back. Hopefully I'll be back in a couple more days with more items to sell. And all in all, it's been a really great week so far. I think above average. Usually January is one of my better months. Okay, I'll quit chitter chattering and see you in a couple days. Hi there, it's another day and I have some more goodies to ship out. I have 5 items going out today, which I am happy about, but they are mostly lower dollar or lower profit sales, but that is okay. I am moving out some stuff to make room for new stuff in the new year, so that makes me happy. The first item is a pair of teeny tiny, vintage Black Hills gold earrings. They're very, very dainty. I picked these up in a bag of earrings, and I think there were 3 actual matched pairs, and then there were like 6 individual earrings. So this is the last pair that I had for sale. The individuals, I listed all 6 together and they are still for sale. But I paid $5 for the whole bag. So I have less than $1 into these earrings, and they sold for $36. I believe I originally listed them for $45 or $49, but they had been listed for a little while. And so when this buyer made me this $36 offer, I thought that was pretty reasonable because they are very tiny little earrings. They are 10 karat gold, and that's why I was able to get a little bit more for them. So like I said, I paid less than $1. So after Posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $27.80. Pretty decent profit for a $1, less than $1 investment. So I am not going to complain about that at all. The next item is another item that I paid less than $1 for. I got 5 or 6 of these vintage Native American or Native American style beaded necklaces, and it was $3 for the whole bag of them at a thrift store. I like this Southwest Native American style, so I always pick it up when I see it, especially when it is an affordable price. Let's see, hopefully I got a big enough piece of bubble wrap. Okay, looks like it. So like I said, I paid less than $1 for this, and it sold for $38. I originally listed this at $45, I think, and the buyer made me this $38 offer. Like I said, I paid less than $1. So after Posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $29.40. This really wasn't listed a long time. Well, a long time for me. Only maybe 2 months had it been listed. So I don't think that's a terrible turnaround time at all for unique jewelry pieces. So did I say that made my net profit $29.40? I'm happy with that. I'm going to use the padded flat rate envelope for both of these. Okay, and the next item is this men's belt with a brass buckle. Boy, that got stuck there. And I picked this up because initially I thought it was vintage or high-end. And it is, but it's not vintage. It is by the brand Hickory's Hard Goods, and it's a really nice quality piece. But I looked up comps on this, and the resale really wasn't that high, and neither was the retail. But I had already picked it up. I paid $3 for it. I did list it for $39, which I think was actually close to the retail price. And this was in excellent condition. But I had it listed for 4 or 5 months without much interest at all. And this buyer came in and offered me $12, which I was not interested in taking. We went back and forth, and they came up to $18. That was still less than I wanted to get for this, but it had been listed for a little while. And as I've been saying, I'm feeling motivated to move out older inventory so that I can have room to thrift and buy more, because that's my favorite part of this. So after Posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $11.40. Not a home run, but a nice little bread and butter profit, and every little bit counts. Let's see, I ran out of tape, so let me switch that out before I move on to the next item. If I can figure out how to do this. Okay, there we go. So the next item is a Lululemon scuba hoodie. And this hadn't been listed very long at all, maybe less than 2 weeks, right around 2 weeks. And I did accept a little bit lower offer than I was hoping for, mainly because Lululemon unless it's a new style, just has not been selling very quickly for me. So when I got this offer relatively quickly, I decided to go ahead and take it. And I think it might be one of you guys. I think it might be Mary, who's a subscriber. So if you are a subscriber and you bought this, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I am going to have to sneak off camera a minute because my shipping label flew away. So, okay, so I believe I started out by listing this at $59. And this buyer came in, I can't remember what she originally offered me, but it was in the 30s, which was less than I wanted to get. And she came up to $43. I decided to go ahead and accept that. I had paid $9 for this, so that still left me room for some profit. And I just decided that I didn't want to sit on another Lululemon piece for a longer period of time. So that made my profit $25.40. Still a nice little profit, especially for a quicker turnaround time. You can't complain too much about that. And the next item I am super glad to see go. This is an Eileen Fisher top. And this was one of the original items that I got from my dry cleaners. If you didn't watch one of my last videos where I talk about that, my dry cleaners will sometimes give me items on consignment. I'll take them on consignment from people who have never picked up their dry cleaning. So they've dropped it off and never come back for it. I'm not sure what my dry cleaners rule of thumb is for, you know, saying, okay, it's been too long, we're not holding your items anymore. But this particular grouping of items was from a woman who had passed away, and they called her house, and the people who answered said, we don't want the items. So they knew that they were safe to sell them. So I took that grouping on consignment, and I am doing a 50-50 split. I don't remember what I originally listed this for. I think it's been listed for over a year, but I got an offer for $14, and I said, take it off my hands. So after Posh fees, that made my profit $4.15. So the dry cleaners get $4.15 and I get $4.15. Not great at all, but I had already listed it, so I am glad to just see it gone. So I did total up my sales for this week. I was pretty happy with the first week of January. So my total sales were $963. My total cost of goods was $76.15. So after Posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $689.50. And these are just the sales that I shared with you in my videos. Sometimes I do have local sales and sales on other platforms that I don't share here. But this is just kind of to give you an idea of what you can do sales-wise on Poshmark. So that is it for this week. I hope you guys are all having a good start to January. You probably won't be seeing this until mid to late January, but anyways, I hope it's going well, and thank you for watching. If I haven't already mentioned it, I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, and comment down below. All those things really help me out and they encourage me. So I'll see you next week.